Well, here we're looking at Baidu, and we saw um, we saw a continuation of this. Now, I really thought for a while here we have a little coming into support, and we saw the bounce really on the open. I was thinking, wow, we might just see this try to go a little higher, but in reality, it's still just kind of holding a prior range here that we know is important. This 200, say, to one 198 level. We're seeing it try to hold that, but it looked today, it just struggling to go higher here, and we see the break to the downside. So I think Baidu will continue its move lower, and I think this starts to firm it up, especially the fact it's underneath our bands here. We're going to be using these a lot more exclusively. I think they help give people a feel for the ranges, because keep in mind here, I've had some questions, and sometimes people wonder why we don't give certain exits or certain entries. We try to do that. I personally think that, we do, because when you listen to what we say, you should pay attention to the support and resistance ranges. And the reason why we don't get incredibly specific or say, hey, this is the entry, this is the exit, like everybody else does, is because for one, the market can open up a little more, and that will be usually an invalid range, or could be not as accurate. So you could be really telling somebody something that really, based upon the open, may not be the same case, because you have to be a little more dynamic with the open, because the open will tell you a lot more. So in fairness to the person that's now has to forecast it, they get a heads up at the open to see the trading range. It's very simple. Let's just look at it. Just a very simple thought here is that if you're looking at pivot points, and now you see the market really starting to rally, and you're close near the high pivot point, and they're trying to open it there, then you know that, hey, you might be seeing some weakness coming off that pivot point. So you'd want to wait for a closing type of scenario, or wait for the entire day to play out, as opposed to going in early. And so that's why. And also for us, I think it's easier to just say, hey, you know what, we take the open or the close, whichever makes sense. Most of the time, we're taking the either or, and that can really, depending on the swing, it can hurt us, but we try to go with those guidelines unless we're extremely specific, and we let people know some common sense. We can get a lot of these points, but it can get a little more difficult. But I do think that we'll see this continue to go lower, and any break through this 188 level, I think we'll see much deeper move to the 181 level.